If you are looking for buying advice, don't listen to YouTubers because they just want you to click on their affiliate links. What you need to is a real-life comparison, and today I will show you exactly that. What is the best do-it-all lens for Panasonic GH6? Let's find out! Today I'm going to compare for you two best all-round lenses for Panasonic GH6, Lumix Vario G and Leica Elmarit. Both lenses have focal length of 12 to 60 mm. The first thing you'll notice when you'll take the Leica lens into your hands is the build quality comparing to the build quality of Lumix 12 to 60. It will just make you smile how good it feels to have product of higher tier in your camera bag. Focus ring and zoom ring on Leica are metal. Fortunately, the lens mount on both lenses is not plastic, so you can worry less about breaking it. And here comes a first main pro factor in favor of Leica 12 to 60, and that is a quality of a zoom ring. Are working with such quality zoom ring as on the Leica 12 to 60, you can stay calm and concentrate on other important parts of your work. On Lumix lens, zooming is a different story. Despite a relatively good lens build, zooming in or out is not as smooth as on Leica. The other thing is that the lens barrel extends a little bit even when you zoom back to 12 mm. When shooting a video, this makes camera operation a little unbalanced. The front element on Leica is clearly larger than on the Lumix. This is one of those factors that are letting more light into the lens. The f2.8 to 4 on Leica comparing to f3.5 to 5.6 on Lumix says a lot on paper, but even more in real-life footage. The video on the full extended lens of Lumix is comparatively darker than on Leica. We will get to that later in this video. What about the front thread size? On Leica it's 62 mm. Leica's lens hood is lockable, so that might be welcomed by some users. However, this lock works only when it is mounted facing front of the lens. If you are trying to mount it backwards, it can be screwed on the lens but not to be locked there. The front thread of lens on Lumix is a little smaller. It's 58 mm. The lens hood cannot be locked as on the Leica, but in real life this doesn't matter at all. The lens cap can be removed or put on easily on both lenses even when lens hood is on. Great thing about both lenses is that they are pretty compact. Traveling with them is a joy, even if you are shooting with them on places where other times you would need a permit. With these lenses, you are looking as an amateur who is taking pictures for vacation memories. And yet, you could create with them a good quality material. When we are speaking about Leica, it will be more like top-notch quality material, because this is a place where Leica clearly excels over the Lumix. Only Leica lens has switches on their body. One switch controls autofocus on and off function. The second switch on and off the power image stabilization function. This allows you to get more control over your workflow. Let's start with first test. It is full zoom in and out on an open area. All is set to autofocus continuous. Focusing with Leica is much fun just because of that previously mentioned smoother focusing ring. Lumix, comparing to that, requires much more effort to maintain that focus operation smooth. It forces you on your hands operation so that footage isn't choppy. There are times when it works on Lumix as well, but when doing professional work, you really need more stable equipment so you can deliver same results on each takes over and over again. Lumix G-Vario can't deliver that all the time, so this is a considerable handicap. And then there is that matter of slower lens. Thus, in real-life situation like this, really shows the difference between f4 of Leica versus f5.6 on Lumix? That is a really interesting question. Despite the fact that the Lumix 12-60 can create really high quality footage, you cannot compare it to Leica. The Lumix is clearly slower. For those who are just starting with photography or video, it means that Lumix is much darker overall. What about both lenses in terms of autofocus speed on small objects in various situations? Here we can see that the Lumix might even have a slight edge over the Leica. I must however underline that this applies only on well-lit scenarios like this one. This scene has a lot of light, and even though on paper the Lumix G-Vario might be a slower lens, it performs quite fantastic. The background in this shot is relatively complex, and yet both lenses are focusing well. Let's not forget that we are talking about GH camera system in this comparison, which uses the DFD focusing system, and that is anything but famous comparing to mirrorless cameras of other brands like Sony or Canon. When zooming the lenses fully out, the autofocus speed on both of them is again very similar when used in situations where subjects are well lit. The other question is the question of your budget. New Leica 12-60 cost over 900 euros or US dollars. New Lumix 12-60 costs over 600 euros or US dollars. What about the sharpness on fully zoomed lens? This is area when in complex situations like this, the sharpness difference between Leica and Lumix is indistinguishable. The autofocus in this video is on, and all of the footage as you are seeing right now, as well as in other video examples in this entire video comparison, is shot in 4:2 10-bit 30 frames per second, with exception of mountain shot which was shot in 60 fps. What doesn't compare this video test is sharpness when recording human faces. This might also be an important factor for those who are looking for best all-round lens for their work. When shooting video containing people, the focus of Leica is way ahead. The eyes are considerably sharper when using Leica comparing to Lumix. If you are planning on using any Leica or Lumix 12-60 on work that will not contain human faces, the difference is less visible. The objects are equally sharp, and you probably wouldn't tell a difference even when using 8K resolution monitor. So then, this is a question of your personal needs and budget, of course, which might be a defining factor. The factor we didn't mention in this comparison yet is the color science. This mountain shot can give you a good example between representing colors to the exact same settings in the camera. Can you spot a difference in colors in this standard color profile? The difference is there, but visible only for a trained eye and when used next to each other. For everyone else, not so much. Let's talk about filters for these lenses a little. Only a little, because I will make a separate review where I will put head-to-head lens filters that are not heavy on your wallet and yet they deliver nice results. For example, the review will contain this cheap but extraordinary well-made filter from Emolux, as you can see it mounting here on the Leica. It's not only neutral density filter but also combined with polarizing filter, which is pretty unique. It costs only 38 euros or US dollars. I already used it in one of my previous videos called Michalova Winter. If you haven't seen it, make sure to do that after watching this video. It did handle high contrast situations, and overall sharpness of Leica wasn't affected at all. Then I will also review another budget filter option. This will be a neutral density filter from Fotga. It might not be the best option for professional work, but it can handle personal projects with ease. Before we'll head to last comparison between Leica Elmarit and Lumix G-Vario, let me tell you following. All equipment showed in this video as well as used making this video will be posted in the description below. All of those items are also linked to the places where you can buy them. These links are affiliate links. One of the most important factors that might be also deciding factor for your purchase of one of these lenses was not yet mentioned. The Leica Elmarit 12-60 f2.84 is Parfocal lens. When you focus on object, it stays sharp even when you zoom in or out. After a long-term test, I went for Leica just because of sharpness and this. If I haven't seen it in action before I had the Lumix 12-60, I would probably stay with Lumix and be happy about it. The focus hunting on Lumix is so visible here that it hurts eyes. The results are relatively similar. However, the next series of videos will prove that the Leica is far superior than the Lumix. But to see that, you need to subscribe to this channel. So if you like this video, click on the like button. My name is Mario Becchi, thank you for watching and we will see you soon. Ciao!